What you think you are, that's a famous Buddhist proverb. And with us, we have Sandy Rayo, who is a health expert, and she talks about being positively proactive about health. Tell us, how can you, there's a lot of negativity attached to being healthy and losing weight and everything. How do you change your mindset to be positively proactive? Tell us about it.
Absolutely, and I'm really glad to be here today to sort of talk about this issue. And I think when people think about health in particular, it's usually in these dichotomies, good or bad, well or ill. And when we go into endeavoring to think around our health, it's most specifically because something has happened, right? And that's a reactive mentality. It's because you've been diagnosed with something or you've gone to the doctor's office and something has happened where you think, okay, now I need to take charge of my health. And we all know the things that we need to do in order to get healthy, whether it be exercise, whether it be, you know, our nutrition, meditation. There's so many different aspects to being preventative or proactive, but why don't we do it? And I think that's the key question. And myself, as a mental wellness expert, I'm always looking at that mind-body connection and that broader sense of health. So when we think about health, we always go straight to physical, but there's your mental health, there's your emotional health, there's your spiritual health, your financial health. All of those things being aligned will get you to that optimized or maximized experience.
And when it comes to, like you said, it's about aligning your mind, body, soul. So for a lot of people, they don't even know how to get there because they're so focused on their external life that they completely forget there's a whole internal being inside. So for someone like that who's watching today, what would you say to them in terms of just checking in with who they are within?
Oh, absolutely, and that's a fantastic question. And you know what, I would throw out to a question to you guys first to see what you'd say, and then I'll give you my answer.
Okay.
And so when people say, I don't have time.
Yes, that was my excuse. I was going to say, what do you do?
Right? And so what do you hear when someone says, I don't have time?
They don't really care.
She just said it herself. Excuse.
Okay,
it's an excuse.
I have a baby, and I seriously don't have time. But
right?
Coming back to you.
Right, and so I think the really funny thing is that we all think that, and to a certain point, it's true. But you're right that we make time. But how do you make time? There's only 24 hours in a day. How do you make that 25th or that 26th or things like that? So I'm going to ask another again, this is, I'm a therapist, so this is the way I do it. But I'm going to ask.
We love it.
It's like we don't free therapy.
We put a wall at the end. We're like, okay.
By the end of the segment, you will be cured. If only I could do that quickly. But the second question I'm going to ask is that, you know, do all of you drive?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you see that, you know, that signal light that comes on that you're running low on gas or you're empty.
Oh, that's me all the time. I cringe. I'm like, I hope my dad pays for gas.
But do you ever think, oh, who cares about that? I'll keep going. I'll keep going. I'll keep going. Anytime have you done that?
I've done that, and you know what? I know what you're going to say after, but now I feel reluctant because when I see that the gas tank is low, I feel like my energy is running low. So I feel like by actually filling it up, it fills me up as well. It's like a reflection of my inner self. That's how I see it now.
Very good, very good.
Well, the next one, how do you fill that up though? Like sometimes it's external things that kind of, suck the life out of you. It could be people, it could be your job, it could be your lifestyle. So how do you kind of refresh yourself? How do you fuel yourself up again?
Well, absolutely. And I think the key thing is that there's certain things that we would never do. We would never drive our vehicles without fueling it up. So we are just one miraculous, unique, wonderful machine. And so to think that we can go without sleep and that we can go without food and that we can go without water, it doesn't make sense that we would prioritize our vehicles over ourselves, right? So I just want to pause for that for a second, right?
Yeah, my question to that is, how do you know that you're running low? Sometimes you keep going, and you crash, and then that's when you're like, okay, you pass out completely.
Absolutely, and I think it's to your point, Sunny, around that self-reflection and really connecting with yourself. Some people, if they don't eat, forget it, get out of their way, right? Or if they don't sleep, like it's not going to be the same for everyone. People are unique in that capacity. But I go back to that car analogy because your emotions are your signal lights. They're your ways to tell you, okay, which direction you're going. And people will always say, oh, that's not me, or I'm not like that.
You get crabby, or it's not like yourself.
Like, oh, I'm sorry that I've snapped at my partner, I've snapped at my friends, or I don't seem to have as much patience, right? Those are your signals to know, okay, maybe I'm running low. And so I go back to your time question because it's a really, really big one. It comes up all the time. But it's that idea that all of these self-care things give you time, right? Because if you think about, okay, when you're running low, all the things that you're really good at normally now take you that much longer to do it because you're not processing as quickly. You're not as creative as you usually are. You know, something that you're like, usually that would take me 15 minutes to do is now taking you an hour to do. So if you resource yourself, you get time back.
That's
people
a good
don't
point.
necessarily understand that. So in fact, when people say, I don't have time, I say, here, I'm going to give you some. Right? By doing these things, right? You set yourself up in a way that you can actually manage your life and in the way that you really want to. So
I really like the way this conversation is going because it's really positive. And it's really about taking control and really having the steering wheel of your life.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think it's wonderful that you use the word control because we always want control. But we try to control things that we have no control over, right?
And
so
worry about them.
Exactly. So if my partner could only do this, or if, you know, this person, or if my job, or if my boss, or if all the things that we don't have any control over. And so you don't actually get any benefit of it because you don't have any control and then you don't make any impact. So what if we turn all of that energy inward and we focus on the things that we can control? I can make myself a lunch. I can go to sleep early, right?
We're going to ask you a lot more questions and we'd love to hear your answers. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back after this break.